What's going on, YouTube? This is SG1 Sports here on the Ohio State channel at the voice of college football. In this video, we're going to give you a very early projected record for Ohio State. Please keep in mind that this is not an official prediction. It's simply a projection based off of the strength of schedule and based off of how good each team is expected to be, and with a very early look towards 2022. Here were the projections from 2021 for Ohio State. Their record was 10-2. They actually finished below the projections. Our projection was 11-1, going through and doing it just like we're going to do in this video. And then our prediction was also 11-1. I did have them losing one game. So, 11-1, that's still a really good year. 10-2, it was a disappointment. It was a big disappointment for Ohio State. And I think a lot of the reason why the projection was so high is because Michigan and Michigan State, those two teams were not expected to be as good as they turned out to be. And when you looked at it in the preseason, those should have been easy wins. Now, Michigan State turned out to be an easy win, but of course, Michigan beating Ohio State was the big surprise, at least going back to the preseason. So 11-1, the projection. The FBI had them at 10.8 and 1.9. Which that does include the Big Ten championship game. So, they had them closer to 10-2 than they did 11-1 when you take out the Big Ten championship game. But then they gave them basically a 70% chance to go to the Big Ten championship. I think most people, before the season started, just expected Ohio State to be there. Of course, they didn't quite make it. But 10.8 wins, including a Big Ten championship, that does put the projection closer to 10-2. So the FBI nailed it with Ohio State last season, except for the fact that they expected them to go to the Big Ten championship. And then the over-under for them was 11. So, I think most people are probably going to stay away from that number because 12-0 was going to be hard to do with their schedule. But I don't think many people, again, expected them to go 10-2, which turned out to be their actual record. So we'll see what the projection shows for 2022. And again, there's a big difference here because of the perception of some of these teams that they're going to be playing this year. We're expecting these teams to be better than we expected them to be in the preseason last year. So keep that in mind. Here's the schedule for Ohio State. Here's how we break it down. The games that are basically 50-50 games, 40 to 60% games, they're going to stay in the white. We're not going to have any less than 20% games. Actually, we're not going to have any games in the red, orange, or yellow here. Your 61 to 70% games, those are games where Ohio State's going to be favored by about a touchdown, 6 or 7 points, somewhere in there. And then your 71 to 80% games, that is where Ohio State's probably going to be favored by double digits. And then the games in green, those are the games where Ohio State should win. They're going to be favored by 2+ touchdowns, and we count those as wins. So the green ones we count as wins, and then we average out the rest. The way we do it, 71 to 80%. So the games in blue, they're counted as 75%. The purple counted as 65%, and then the 50-50 games counted as 50%. Then we average it out. So let's start with the green games for Ohio State. I think you've got 6 of them here: Arkansas State, Toledo, Rutgers, Northwestern, Indiana, and Maryland. Pretty much a guarantee that they're going to win these 6 games. I mean, Maryland could be a little tricky on the road if they turn out to be a lot better than expected, but I think everyone pretty much guarantees that Ohio State's going to win these 6 games. Then we go to the games in blue, 71 to 80%. I've got 2 games against Western Division opponents here, Wisconsin and Iowa. I think it's hard to really see a path for either of these 2 teams winning this game. First of all, it's at home for Ohio State, and it's just the offense for Ohio State. It's going to be so explosive this year. Wisconsin, Iowa, I don't think either one of these teams have an offense that's going to be able to keep up with Ohio State. That's why I think they will be favored by double digits in both of these games, playing at home. We're going to put them in the blue here, both Wisconsin and Iowa. Then we go to the purple, the games where Ohio State is, I think, going to be favored. Again, it's maybe a 6, 7, 8 point favorite somewhere in there. And I think the rest of the schedule fits here. Notre Dame, Michigan State, Penn State, and Michigan. Notre Dame was, for me, I was very close to putting Notre Dame in the 50-50 category because it's the first game of the season. It's early on, it's a non-conference game, but home field advantage. Home field advantage is ultimately what put Ohio State into the purple in this game. If the game was on the road, this would be a 50-50 game. Even if it was a neutral site, I think this would be closer to a 50-50 game. But I think we can put that in the purple. And by the way, if we put it in the white, if we made this a 50-50 game, it wouldn't change the projection at the end of the day, so it really doesn't matter. Michigan State and Penn State, because they are on the road, I think you have to put those games in the purple. I know Ohio State absolutely destroyed Michigan State last year, but it's a new season. Michigan State expected to be a top 15 team. It's on the road. You never know. Penn State, another team that could be pretty good this year, and it's on the road. So being on the road is what we'll put those two games in the purple. Doesn't necessarily mean that I think Penn State's going to be better than Iowa or better than Wisconsin, but playing on the road makes such a big difference in college football. So I think those games are in the purple. They're closer to 70% than they are to 60%, but they are in that category in my opinion. And same thing with Michigan. Because it's at home, you really like Ohio State's chances. I know Michigan just beat them, so you would say, well, this should be closer to 50-50, but you look at what Michigan is losing, especially on defense, and the fact that this game is in Columbus, maybe I'm being disrespectful to Michigan here, but just looking at it very early, I feel like Ohio State's going to be about a touchdown favorite in this game. So when you average these numbers out, you count the green as wins. Again, you count the blue as 75%. Count the purple as 65%, and then you average those numbers out. The projection for Ohio State comes out to be 10-2. So yes, 10-2 is the projection for Ohio State. So even though they are favored in every game, and I think they're going to be about a touchdown favorite in every single game that they play, the odds would say that they're going to lose a game or two just because of these tough opponents. Notre Dame going to be a tough game. Michigan State and Penn State on the road, they could easily slip up in one of those games. Michigan, rivalry game, they're going to be pretty good. You got Wisconsin and Iowa. Those I feel pretty confident about if I'm an Ohio State fan, but still quality teams. And when you have this many quality teams, the odds will tell you that you're going to lose a game or two, and that's what it comes out for Ohio State, 10-2. Not my prediction. I'll go ahead and tell you right now, I'm probably not going to pick this team to go 10-2. It'll probably be 11-1 or 12-0 for me. But when you average the numbers out, again, the projection, early projection for Ohio State for 2022 is 10-2. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Give me your thoughts down in the comments below.